All right, so test. Why am I doing this past Christmas? Test. All right, okay, there we go. Welcome back to Fastlane Fridays, everyone. I'm your host, Sean Urban. Good morning, and I'm here to bring you the latest news and drama of NASCAR from this past weekend as we hit the Las Vegas Strip on Friday, Saturday, and last Sunday. For the truck race this past weekend, the majority of the night was dominated by Kyle Busch in RCR, taking a commanding win in his first stint with Chevy Kyle Busch Motorsports cars. Going back to what I said last week about him being a threat every weekend, whether it be trucks, Xfinity, whatever car you put him in, he's now determined to drive. He's a rejuvenated Kyle Busch, and he's here to cook things up. And the Xfinity race this past weekend, we started off with Austin Hill winning the race after passing Chandler Smith for the lead in a one pretty nerve-wracking battle the last few laps. And this is Austin Hill's first win on a regular oval rather than a restrictor plate or super speedway. And the Cup Series this weekend, I've got a lot to tell all you guys about. The entire driver lineup has been shook up this past weekend with Chase Elliott being sidelined for a tibia injury while he was snowboarding in Colorado. Josh Berry was tapped to fill in for him. He's an Xfinity driver that's had a lot of success. So Josh Berry filled in for Chase Elliott. He fell on back throughout the day after hitting the wall twice and finished 2 laps down. And Hendrick has stolen the headlines this past weekend to say the least. And it's a good day to be me, a good day to be a William Byron fan because my boy Willie B, he took the dub this weekend. He led 175 out of 267 laps, and that caused a lot of speculation and question amongst drivers. I'll also mention that Hendrick Motorsports went 1-2-3, which is kind of the first time since some it's the first time since 2021 since something like that happened. They did go 1-2-3-4, but obviously Josh Berry fell back. But it might be a little bit safe to say that Chase Elliott would have gone 1-2-3-4 with them had he not gotten injured. But one of the big questions that came out this weekend is, can we have like driver talent out? Is William Byron talented? Kyle Petty even made a point to ask, is Ryan Blaney talented? There's a lot of implications that come down to it besides the talent. It comes down to equipment, it comes down to the track, it comes down to how you work with your crew chief, and I said equipment, and it's how you handle the car and how you address situations on the weekend, your adaptability to say the least. So I have a way of telling if a driver is truly talented because there's more than just circumstance that comes in these races that decides who wins or who lose. Because Byron won in overtime, but already he was leading laps at the beginning of the race. And to me, the way I tell is if a driver has talent, if he's able to make it in a sport, is if A, you have past championships from other series, whether it be trucks or Xfinity or whatever under your belt. B, you learn to make your equipment work when it's supposed to work. And C, you're able to go out there and dominate races. You don't have to win, but all you have to do is go out and lead at least more than half the race and are at least able to win a race. So I said this about Blaney in the past where I thought that he was washed up and then all of his wins were on a fluke, but he went out there during the All-Star race, even though if it wasn't a points race. He led a significant number of laps and he was able to dominate and win the race, even though there was a bit of controversy at the end with the finish regarding the caution flag and Ricky Stenhouse Jr. But he proved himself in my eyes and was able to dominate and win races. And the same goes for Byron too. When he took the win in Miami, dominated and won a race. Took the win in Martinsville, dominated and won the race. And this past weekend, Las Vegas, dominated and won the race. So a lot of the question for drivers' talent comes down to what they are able to do with their car and how they're able to adapt to that track. And I just want to go on a little bit of a tangent about that, about driver etiquette and talent. But yeah, in terms of going back to the driver lineup, so Hendrick recently announced that Chase Elliott would be out for at least 6 weeks, and they would be doing a split driver lineup. They will have Josh Berry running the ovals, so he will be running Phoenix this weekend, and he will be running Atlanta next Sunday. And Jordan Taylor will be filling in for him at Circuit of the Americas. So for those of you who don't know who Jordan Taylor is, he is a IMSA sports car driver that's currently racing for Corvette Racing. He's most famous in that category of Corvette. He has 24 wins, 2 championships, 49 podiums, and 15 poles. And I'm just pulling up my stats here. He has raced with drivers up with the likes of Jeff Gordon, and he's also raced with his brother Ricky Taylor. He won the 2015 24-hour of Le Mans in the GTE class for Corvette. He won the 24 hours of Daytona in the Daytona prototype class with obviously, Jeff Gordon. There's multiple um prestigious races to his resume, and seeing how now the short track package that I talked about last weekend is going to be run at Coda now, I'm really excited to see how Ricky Taylor is going to work in a low downforce car that was in reality NASCAR meant to say, "Oh, we're going to make a car that's good on road courses. We're going to make a car that's good at short tracks, great cleaner passing and racing." But when you create a car that's really easy to drive, you don't get slipping and sliding, you get a ton of grip, you also get a lot of downforce too, which obviously creates dirty air, makes it difficult for the person to pass. And it's just really interesting to see how this weekend the package is going to debut at Phoenix. So who knows how it's going to perform? Who knows if people will slip and slide? I know Joey Logano and other drivers said that they liked this package, that it was slippy and that it was a very racy package. They took off the aero strakes on the car and a lot of the aerodynamic devices that are supposed to clean up air on the intermediates, but the script has flipped with the next gen car where the Gen 6 shine at the short tracks and not at the intermediates. Now the next gen car shines at the intermediates, but not the short track. So it's going to be a bit of trial and error before NASCAR really hits off with a package that's good at all tracks, or well, packages that are good at all tracks and creates entertaining racing. And so speaking of filling in and new drivers shake up, Kimi Räikkönen will be returning to pilot the 91 for Trackhouse Racing, part of their 91 program. And I thought that Räikkönen would have done a one-off. He would have done one race, said, "All right, I'm done, go back into retirement." And I'm pretty surprised to see him come back. I thought that I would have seen someone like Daniel Ricciardo. And while we're on the topic of F1 drivers like Raikkonen, Jenson Button, one of the drivers who will be driving with Jimmy Johnson and Mike Rockenfeller for the the 24 hours of Le Mans. He will be driving for Rick Ware Racing in a Stewart Haas prepped car a couple of weeks in Coda. And this was kind of I did not check this off on my bingo card for NASCAR this weekend. Yeah, new package, new driver. It's gonna be exciting. I don't as of now, there's no word on whether Rockenfeller will run any races. I believe he's running for, I forgot the name of it, but it's a German team that is dipping their toes into NASCAR. I know they're gonna make a couple of starts this year. They'll make their debut. I think they made their debut either last year or this year, but I know they're gonna add more races to their schedule before they go full time in around 2024, 2025. But it's just speculation right now. Do I think he's gonna race in any race this weekend, whether it be road courses or ovals or whatever? Probably not right now, as of now. But while we're on the topic of more races, Button will also run 2 more races at the Charlotte Roval, and the Indianapolis Road Course. Remember, actually no, not the Roval. He'll be running the Chicago Street Course, and I'll get to the name of the race in a second. And he will be running the Indianapolis Road Course. I was right on one of those statements. But yeah, so to end off on that, I will have to end a little bit early because I have a train to catch. It's my spring break. So to end off on this note, the names of the Chicago Street Course were released this weekend, and the name for the Xfinity race will be the Loop 121, and for the Cup Series, it will be called the Grant Park 220. Very cool names that are synonymous to their not respective, but to their own races, with Grant Park being on the Chicago Street Course and the Loop being not oval like, but it's pretty. All tracks are repetitive if you're doing laps, but it seems like it seems like an upside down mirror, the track is, which I find kind of like a loop a little bit. It's very smooth. It's not like Coda where it's multiple turns and there's a lot of hairpins. Chicago Street Course is pretty much mostly hairpins. So yeah, to end off on that note, if you're a student at Iona or if you're a student anywhere else and you have spring break starting today, happy spring break. For those of you that have to go into work on Monday, sorry, but yeah, so thank you. We're gonna take an off week because the studio will not be in session due to obviously the spring break. So I will update you guys with the drama from Phoenix, how the package will race, and from Atlanta. And until next time, take care of yourselves and have a good one.